Thank you for checking out this complete broadcast from the Wrestling Epicenter archives. If you like what you hear, please hit the like button and the notifications bell. Also, consider subscribing. It really helps. And now, without any further ado, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Interactive Interview. We're pleasured to be joined here by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Hacksaw, how you doing?
Well, thank you, brother, but you know the first thing old Hacksaw has to do is give a big ho! Kind of fires me up, you know, brother?
Well,
I'm doing good. You got some questions for me, I guess.
Yes, we do. We haven't seen you since TNA on TV anyway. How you been doing the last couple of years?
I've been doing great, thanks. I do a few independents, and I've been going over to Japan about 5 times a year. But my main bread and butter is I have a real estate company here in Florida that's doing real well.
I read that on your website, hacksawjimduggan.com. It's a really well-designed website.
Well, thank you, yes. A young man up in, Matt up in Halifax is doing that for me. Does a nice job for me.
Just this past weekend, you were a part of, or I think it was about 2 weeks ago, you did the Wrestle Reunion. We did a ton of interviews to promote this event, but we have not yet spoken to anybody who was actually there. How did it turn out?
Well, I thought it was great. I'm not sure how the promoters made a whole lot of money off it with so many guys there. I think they had a total of 86 guys is the number I heard of. So it's It's hard to be a money maker when you bring in 86 fellas, because I figure at least 70 of them had trans, you know. But it was a great time. I think the fans really had a chance to interact with the wrestlers and get to ask some questions. And it was a great time for the wrestlers because, you know, we got to see people like Harley Race was there, and Nick Bockwinkel, Bobby Heenan, Bill Watson. So it was like an old home week. It was a lot of fun.
We normally try to go in chronological order of the guest career. So first question that I have for you is, what made you decide to become a professional wrestler?
Well, I met Fritz Von Erich on a recruiting trip when I made my trip to SMU, where I ended up playing my college football, and Fritz suggested I try professional wrestling. But back then I was just mainly interested in playing professional football. And then in 1977, the Atlanta Falcons picked me up, and I stayed a season with them. Was released in 78, went up to Canada, but I saw I had no real future in football, and gave Fritz a call and made the transition to wrestling.
We've had both Missy Hyatt and Shane Douglas on a few times, and both of them talk very highly of the UWF promotion that you were a part of. How did you enjoy working for Bill Watts in the UWF?
Well, Bill treated me real well, especially after Junkyard Dog and Jake the Snake left and went up to New York. He was trying to keep what talent he had left there in Louisiana, and paid me really well. And to this day, that Mid-South territory, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Arkansas, is still a hotbed for me. It was a great time in my life and a great time in wrestling.
Your character was definitely and still is really over with the crowd. And at one point, it was the Cold War, and you were the proud American. But going back, where did you get the idea to carry the 2x4 from?
2x4 came back, I think, when I was working for Joe Blanchard in San Antonio. Buck Robley and Bruiser Brody called me. I was working for the Fullers down in Pensacola, and asked me to come to the San Antonio territory and work with Brody, because he needed a big heel to work with. And I made the move, and so many guys were carrying, feathered boas and sequin robes. And old Brody told me, he said, if you're going to carry something in the ring, he said, carry something you can use. So the 2x4 kind of evolved into it.
How about the trademark, I don't want to do it, but I'll do it, the trademark ho, where did that come from? Is that Johnny Carson or?
Oh, yeah, young man, you got to work on your hose. If you're going to do it, it's like wrestling. If you're going to do it, baby, you got to feel it from the heart. And that's where it came from. I mean, I'm just out there with the people, and I think that's one of the reasons why the people enjoy watching me wrestle, is they know how much I enjoy being out there. And that's just kind of my way to give back to them and get them more involved in the match. And it's just something that started to happen way back early in my career.
Yeah, definitely.
I always wondered if he got it from like Johnny Carson or the Thundercats or something from that.
I'm not sure who the Thundercats are.
It's a cartoon show. They used to hold. It's a 80s cartoon show. They used to hold swords in the air and say ho. So it was like similar.
A lot of guys said it was up in New York when I was calling a girl, but that's a whole other story there. Oh!
There was an incident involving you and the Iron Sheik, and if you don't want to talk about this, that's fine. But first of all, what was the drug situation like in the WWF back in the late 80s?
The drug situation in WWF was just like it was in society. That's when our former president Bill Clinton was smoking pot, along with me and a lot of other people were smoking pot. It was just a cross section of society. I mean, there's a lot of drugs in the 80s in all sports and in all sections of life. Maybe a little more in the WWF because of the scheduling we had. A lot of people try to compare that time frame of wrestling to a sports team. You really weren't like a sports team at all. You were more like a band, and when you're hot, you're hot. So when you're working on top, you sometimes work 340, 350 days a year, and a lot of guys did that. And a lot of guys, sometimes you need a little something to get through the pain, or you fly over to London and you get in the morning and do a show that night. So a few uppers would help you, and you need a few sleeping pills on the plane, and some people just really got caught into the lifestyle.
Did that affect kayfabe at all, that you were in the car with such a known heel like the Iron Sheik?
Sure, oh yeah, I never recuperated from that bust. Well, of course, I was over 21, so I should have known better, but just coming into the WWF, the Sheik, who I didn't really know, asked me for a ride. The police officer saw us drinking beer in the car, pulled us over, smelled the weed, which I had. I got arrested for a misdemeanor marijuana bust for less than a quarter ounce of pot. But the Sheik had 3 grams of cocaine in separate containers. So the press, it was Duggan Sheik, drug arrest, cocaine, marijuana. It was never really specified what happened. The Sheik, of course, had a felony arrest and had to go through the whole court system and everything. I was charged with misdemeanor marijuana bust and was expunged off my record after 6 months.
As a kid growing up, I remember the first thing I thought about you was, and the first time I really had a chance to see you, to be honest with you, before I went back and watched old tapes, was, holy crap, that guy knocked out Andre. How important was that in the scheme of your character, that incident with Andre the Giant?
Well, not really much as the scheme of my character, but more in just elevated me. I was like a semi-main middle card type talent for the Vince, and that elevated me to a main event talent. So, it was a highlight of my career to be the only man ever to knock Andre the Giant out, and it's something I'll always remember, and something I'll always appreciate the Giant doing for me.
We've read a few interviews, and everybody asks you this, and this is a big thing people are going to remember you for, but how special for you was it that you won the very first Royal Rumble?
Yeah, well, that's back then. It wasn't really that big of a deal because we got done with that show, got in the car, and drove to another show. It was just a really hectic time period. Of course, I realized that it was quite something to win something like that, but I didn't really have time to reflect on it because I was working, pretty much almost every day of the year, so it just was another day at the office.
You had a feud going on with Yokozuna, kind of the anti-American versus the proud patriot type feud. How did you like working with Yokozuna?
I like Big Yoko quite a bit. We got to know each other well. I think Mr. Fuji, his manager, really added a lot to him, and we had some really great matches, and I just enjoyed it.
Do you feel Lex Luger with the Lex Express stole your thunder at all?
No. I tell you, Lex, they gave him the bust, they gave him the big push, and he still couldn't carry the USA gimmick. They've been trying to give that flag and board. I know Vince had a whole bunch of guys carrying 2x4s for a while.
Ahmed Johnson is the one that comes to my mind. He had the board for a while, yeah.
And I think even the Big Show had a board for a little while there. I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't watched wrestling in quite a while.
Actually, yeah, he did, in the Union, yeah.
I never felt threatened by anybody doing my character. I don't think anybody can, even, who's the kid up there, Kurt Angle. I mean, he's a great talent and a great wrestler, but I don't think he conveys the USA character like I do, and that's why I still think I'm so popular now on the independent shows and at the armed service bases around the country and the world.
Why did you decide to leave the WWF?
Well, Ted Turner offered me a no-cut contract, so that's when you had Hogan left, I left, Jimmy Hart left, Beefcake left. There was a whole exodus of guys leaving Vince to go down, where Turner decided to be more competitive in the sport and offer the guys the contracts, which up to that day was unheard of. And of course, with the influx of the WWF talent coming into WCW, guys like Helmsley and Austin and those people left and went up to Vince.
Was Hulk Hogan at all involved in you going over to WCW?
Sure, yeah. Hulk Hogan's a very good friend of mine, and when he was talking about going in there, he's the type of wrestler that we kind of work in the same type of arena where it's more not as much work as gimmick, let's say. And I know if Hogan would be popular in that, if they were giving him an opportunity like that, that'd be a good place for me to go. So when I talked to Hulkster, he said he was going down to WCW, that'd be interested in talking to me and looking for a no-cut contract, because that's the bottom line about this business. A lot of guys worry about how many belts they won and how many championships and all that. This is a business, and the only way to judge success is how financially well you're off after you get out of the business. It makes no difference how many belts you have.
Yeah. Backtracking just a tad, before you left WWF, you had a feud on Monday Night Raw that headlined quite a few of those episodes with the Intercontinental Champion at the time, Shawn Michaels. Do you have any thoughts on working with Shawn?
Yeah, I enjoyed working with Shawn. I knew him down in Mid-South, and I've always kind of liked him. He wasn't the kind of guy that I would run around and hang with. He hang with a different type of guys, kind of the GQ guys like Hall and Nash and that group. But I enjoyed working with him, and I respect Shawn because he came up the hard way. Later on, as he got bigger and bigger star, he got a bigger and bigger head and got harder to deal with. And I haven't really had much to do with him in years, but I know his reputation kind of says that he's kind of a jerk as he got to be a bigger star.
Early on in WCW, you won the U.S. title from Steve Austin in a really short match. Did you ever feel that Steve was going to be as big as he became?
No, I didn't to this day. And that's what Vince does for somebody. I don't think Austin went up there. I may be wrong, but I don't think Austin went up there with a Stone Cold deal.
No.
I think Vince came up with the idea of a Stone Cold and stuck it on Austin. He carried the ball and did well with it. But Austin, I think, he's not a friend of mine. I don't think too much of the guy personally. I think anybody that beats up women regularly, what's he beating up 3 or 4 different women, not just slap them around and beat them, that he's not much of a man. And I told him that after the Halloween Havoc show where I chased him out of the ring when he did that bogus knee injury, and I went into his dressing room and told him what I thought about him.
Wow. That's pretty...
Wow.
That's, well, I agree with you, and I've always said...
Austin, if you can hear me, brother, I'm not a hard guy to find. You ducked me before, and I'm sure you'll duck me again, tough guy.
Wow. Nothing like a little, never mind.
What's he going to do? He's, 6'1", 240, 250?
Right, and he's got a bad neck and 2 bad knees. So...
Well, I got 1 kidney and 4 knee operations, but I'm 6'3", 280, and I'll probably 10 years on the guy, and I'd still tear him up.
Wow.
You were around... go ahead, Eric.
Okay, well, thank you. You were around when the NWO came in. What was it like? How did the NWO change the landscape of WCW?
Well, that was just when Hall and Nash came in, and Hall and Nash are 2 of the best talents in our business. They got the interview, they got the look, they got the work, but you couldn't have 2 guys more detrimental to a company. They came in, they caused more friction between all the talent. They really weren't with what they brought into the show. And there's where Hogan is a master. They were coming in, WCW is going to put the big gas on them, make them the big stars. Hogan flipped over, turned heel, jumped on top of the NWO bandwagon, and rode it to the top and made him hotter than ever. You got to give Hogan credit. He's a master.
Absolutely. You made a remark in an interview that I read, and I think it was conducted a couple years ago, that some believe that Vince McMahon sent down Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and later on Vince Russo to kill WCW. Do you personally believe that?
No, I really don't, but it's a good story. A lot of guys talk about that, but I don't think that. I think, Vince is just a master also. A lot of guys... I did a talk show with a kid that just got canned by WWF, and he was, that Vince McMahon, he treated us like pieces of meat. I'm like, well, son, what the hell you think you are, kid? If you want a friend, go buy a puppy. Vince is a promoter. He's no different than a music promoter or a boxing promoter, and he's going to use you up and spit you out. And you got to realize that going up there. You go up and hang on as long as you can, make as much money as you can, and enjoy the ride. But don't expect nothing from Vince. He's your boss. He's not your friend.
You mentioned when Hogan turned heel, there was a couple of promos that you cut on him on Nitro, where you challenged into matches, and they never seemed to happen. Why do you think that program never took place?
I think Bischoff and Russo in particular didn't like my gimmick. They just, especially there at the end, they were trying to push me out of the company, and they just didn't ever happen.
I'm sure everyone has seen or heard about the Thunder where you announced that you had cancer, and I think, speaking for myself, and I'm sure James will agree with me, I mean, everybody pretty much had a tear in their eye when you cut that interview. It was really powerful, really emotional. Were you comfortable showing that side of yourself on TV?
Nope, not at all. A friend of mine, Terry Taylor, when I found out when I was diagnosed with cancer, I just didn't want to see nobody, didn't want to talk to nobody. And Terry, who I've known for years, he says, Jim, these fans have been with you for 20 plus years. They'd want to know, they'd want to share this with you, and you should tell them. And it was extremely hard to go on national TV and tell everybody that I had cancer, because, of course, at that time we didn't realize if I was even going to survive, much less be able to come back to wrestling. But just with the grace of God and early detection, saved my life.
Absolutely, and I want to give a little personal story. We interviewed Bobby Heenan, and off the air, he said, "Kid, the only thing that's important in life is your friends and your family. It's not the money. It's nothing else." He said, everybody should get cancer once in their life because it really puts life in perspective. Would you agree with that, having gone through it?
No, I wouldn't wish cancer on anybody. I mean, sure, you have a whole different perspective on life, especially when you realize your own mortality. But my very good friend, one of my best in the business, is fighting for his life right now, Steve Dr. Death Williams.
Yeah, we were going to interview him about a year ago, and that's when he started going to chemo. And
right. And,
yeah, he's a great guy.
And that's one thing about going full cycle, and that there's a starting off in the small little shows and all that, and working your way up to the bigger shows, the bigger territories, and going to events and doing WrestleManias and working at the Garden, and then working your way back down, and now here I am again doing National Guard armories in high school gyms. And I think just doing that, you kind of get to respect life in general, because you see, how fragile it is with how many guys have dropped by at the wayside.
Definitely.
When you came back, the crowd was absolutely going crazy, chanting USA and Ho, and they were all with you. But they never seemed to push you.
Right, yeah, well, one show in particular I did in Denver, Colorado, where I worked with Big Brian, Brian Adams. And,
right.
And I took a pile driver there, and I didn't really like to take it from Brian because he's
sloppy.
Wasn't very good at giving them, and this was after my cancer ordeal. And but I went ahead and did it. And after I did the job, 1, 2, 3, right in the middle of the ring, Brian got up, got his hand raised, no reaction. He walked out of the ring. I stood up, I gave him a ho. The whole place was on their feet, ho, and I said, USA! And that place was rocking. I went right back into the dressing room. I'm pounding my chest. Bischoff! I said, you can't kill me off. You beat me every single night. You can't kill me off. It makes no difference what you do to me. And, of course, we had just a little personality conflict going on there. And towards the end of my run there at WCW, I really believe they were just trying to push me out of the contract with the janitor deal,
right,
and then the Canadian deal. And, of course, the janitor said, they called me in there, Hacksaw, we're going to have you become the janitor of the WCW. I said, that's great, fine, whatever you do, put me on TV, I'll get myself over. It makes no difference what you do with me. And some of the janitor gimmicks were the highest rated segments of the show.
Right.
And then the Canadian gimmick, and they call me in the office again, they say, Hacksaw, we're going to turn you against America. And I'm like, geez, 20 years I've been carrying a flag, and something I really feel, I wonder if they're going to, turn me to Korea or Iraq, Iran, what's the deal?
Right.
And we're going to give you the Team Canada, And that's like, well, it's not like we have a lot of heat with Canada anyway. But,
right.
And then I'm in the ring with, poor Lance Storm, and Lance is a good kid and a okay wrestler.
Right.
But, he's standing out there saying, can I please have everyone's attention? And I'm walking around behind him being Hacksaw.
Right.
Say, Hacksaw, you're taking away from the kid out there. I said, well, it's not my fault. The kid can't carry the load. If he's out there whispering into the mic and I'm stomping around the ring chasing the major guns around, I can't turn my stuff down. He's got to turn his up.
As you just mentioned, you became the janitor during the Bischoff and Russo era. And you also became the TV champion during this period. And the way they had you do that, obviously, was finding the belt in the trash that Scott Hall had dumped in around November. What did you think of that angle? I mean, of finding a belt in a trash can that,
it actually worked. It worked well. Yeah, I was really happy with it. It took off pretty good. Jimmy Hart and I did a lot with that stuff. We had the Saturday afternoon shows, and we were doing as big as numbers as the Thursday night shows with an eighth of the budget that they had. Me and Kevin Sierra would go out there. He would be doing the Cuban deal, and I'd be doing the USA, and the folks would really appreciate it. What I think has happened to wrestling, it used to be professional wrestling on television.
Right.
Now it's a television show about wrestling. It's like Baywatch, but instead of the lifeguards in the ocean, it's the wrestlers in the wrestling ring. Even in the WCW, I would come in at the end, and I'd have some 22-year-old kid come up to me and say, Hacksaw, here's your verbiage for your interview. And I said, some young punk kid going to tell Hacksaw Jim Duggan how to cut his interview. They're like, well, this is what we'd like you to say. I said, well, I'll say it. Send me my check, baby. It was like being on the Titanic. You knew the ship was going down, so you just hung on as long as you could.
Yep, absolutely.
A lot of people felt that WCW went too far when Goldberg came out and they had him punch you in the kidneys and you were spitting up blood. What did you think of that?
Well, I was glad to be involved in something again, Of course, the deal is he hit me on the side. I don't have a kidney on that side. Doesn't bother me at all. But it was good to be involved again. That's when they were going through revolving doors with bookers, and some people would appreciate what I could do in the ring, and where other people didn't. Guys like Bischoff and Russo, they don't think you're doing a good job wrestling unless you do a couple of head scissors and a couple of fancy Dan moves and fly off the top ropes. Even if the people sit on their hands and watch all that. If I can go out there and stick my thumb up in the air and have, 70-80% of the audience stand up and say, "Oh, tell me who's the better professional wrestler?"
Right.
Exactly.
This is the argument.
Wrestling, they lost it. They went after the college kids, and they wanted to be real hot and clicky and compete with Vince, who's an adult programming now.
Right.
Yeah.
I argue this point all the time that, yes, it's wrestling, and yes, it's great that you're an athlete, but the bottom line is, do the fans connect with you?
Right, exactly. And I think that's why the Indies are so hot, or not so hot, but why the Indies are doing okay is because they offer more traditional type wrestling in a family type atmosphere. No obscene gestures, no profanity, good versus evil, and it's a traditional type wrestling that appeals to our fans. My wife's grandmother, who watched wrestling her whole life, she quit watching it when it's turned into guys up there going, "Suck it," and giving the bird and drinking beer in the ring. They lost their fan base. And I think that's hurting them. And I think maybe Vince's pendulum is swinging back the other way, where down the road I think they'll start going back to more characters.
Do you think they can do that, though? Because will there be like a bad reputation based on this turn?
Bad reputation with, what do you mean?
By having, example, Austin, flipping the bird and drinking beer.
Even, I tell you, these local promoters that run these indie shows always have trouble getting buildings because the guy that owns the building is like, well, I don't want people up there, giving the bird and we say, no, it's not that type of show. But yeah, anything can happen in wrestling. It's professional wrestling. Whatever, you can push guys like Jeff Jarrett or Diamond Dallas Page. You just push it down the people's throat until they get over a little bit. But no matter how hard you push them, they'll never get over strong.
Wow.
You mentioned the indies. I just want to know if you've heard of this indie, and if so, what's your opinion on it? Ring of Honor.
No, I've heard a little bit about it, but I really don't know much about it. I've never worked for them and never talked to those guys. So,
Oh, okay.
I just do a few indies a month just to kind of keep my hand in it because. I really love the business. I love being out on the road. I enjoy seeing the young guys coming up with their gimmicks, working hard in the ring. That's why I try to tell these boys. I said, this is professional wrestling. The oddity of WWF, that's just some strange phenomenon that happened. Professional wrestling is 4 or 5 guys in the car driving 300 miles and telling stories. That's the business. It's nice to be back in it like that, at that level.
Well, going back just a couple steps, did you realize WCW was as far gone as it was? I mean, did you realize it was going to go and close?
Everybody knew it was going under. Yeah, everybody did. And everybody was involved in the company. And that's why Orndorff took a bump at the end of it. He hadn't wrestled in like 3 years, went out to the ring one of the last matches, took a bump and got carried down in an ambulance. So he could sue him. I mean, everybody knew they wanted to get your last little bit of money. You wanted to negotiate, even you negotiated a small contract at the end. you know that contract would be honored. I got paid 8 months after the company went under. It was crazy. It kind of, and that's what killed the business. They're just throwing money for the WCW. They were just throwing, $1 million contracts to Hall and Nash, and even Bret Hart, who's a good friend of mine. But I think it hurt in the long run.
You were part of the XWF. Did you ever expect that to take off?
Yeah, I sure did. I thought, because it offered an alternative, I don't think anybody will ever compete with McMahon.
Right.
It's just too big of a machine. It's up in New York, and he's the best there is in professional wrestling promotion-wise. But I thought it would offer the fans an alternative, more family-type, traditional wrestling show. And, yeah, I was surprised that it didn't do a little better.
Speaking of a more family-type atmosphere, my family and I recently went to TNA Orlando. It was quite a family-oriented show that was extremely appropriate. What did you think about your few appearances in TNA?
Well, the first time I went up there, I did a little deal with Disco and some other kid that was up there. They were talking about teaming me up with one of the Moondogs and getting a little run out of it.
Yeah, he passed away, by the way.
Right, which was definitely worth listening to see what's going on. Because if you're not on TV in the business, you're just stagnating. So I went and checked that out a couple times, and I saw that they were just going to try to use me to build their young talent. Beat me and not doing nothing for me. And then the last time they brought me in to work with Jarrett, that was a favor for Jimmy Hart, who's been a friend of mine of 20-plus years. And he called me and asked me to come up, and I knew I'd come up and get kabonged with the guitar. And that did nothing for me, but that was a favor for Jimmy.
So what are you up to these days, other than, with the indies and the real estate, anything else?
Oh, yeah, well, I'm really active here in the community of Titusville, Florida, which is right by the Space Center. I co-host a deep-sea fishing tournament. I have my Hacksaw Jim Duggan Celebrity Golf Tournament coming up at the end of April. I talk to the schools. I ride with the cops. I'm real active here in the community. I'm on the board of directors for the Children's Home Society for Abused and Neglected Children. I have two little girls that are 10 and 11, and of course, the big thing is the DDC, which I'm sure Paige would get a kick out of, the DDP, but we're the Duggan Development Company here in Florida. I just bought 41 acres on Merritt Island, and we've got that up for sale for $2.9 million, and things are just really happening.
You're not finding any more gators in your pool, are you?
I tell you, a lot of the guys, Brian Knobs and Nasty Boys called me because, that alligator was in the pool, and it even made the Sports Illustrated. Unbelievable how much press I got on that. And he called me up and he said, Duggan, how long did it take you to catch that alligator to throw in your pool? He thought I staged the deal. The alligator pushed its way through the pool screen. Yeah, it was quite an adventure.
I remember reading that and just laughing because I have family out in the Jacksonville area, and it was just hysterical to think that could happen to them too.
Oh yeah, that's during mating season, alligators, and we're not too far from a little lake, and they wander all around. And it was only about a 4-foot alligator, but our cats were a little nervous to say the least.
Yeah. Do you mind doing some word associations before?
Sure, go ahead, brother.
Okay, if you have a one-word answer, that's fine. But if you have a story, that's great too. The first one I have for you is Jake the Snake Roberts.
Jake the Snake. Jake was one of my best friends in the business. Was actually in my wedding, and he might have been my best man, except my dad was my best man. But Jake got on the pipe, and just we had a falling out years ago. And I know I just saw him the other day at that convention you guys were talking about.
Yeah. And
hopefully he straightened his life out.
We interviewed him, and he says that he's straightened out, but hopefully that'll stay the case. So.
The next one I have is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Shawn, respect Shawn because he worked hard and came up through the business, but he's just not my kind of guy.
How about Randy Savage?
Randy is nuts. He believes his own press, especially after the Spider-Man movie. He just really got his head so big that it was really hard to deal with. And Macho talks to me. I said, Macho, stand up when you're... Oh, yeah, you already are. I'm sorry, you're a little short. I understand it was down at TNA. He had to have bodyguards. I mean, legit bodyguards. Hired one, Brian Adams, and somebody else to watch his back. And I tell you, Hogan went down there and he's been blasting Hogan on the radio. I'm going to get you, Hogan. I'm going to get you.
He did it on this show, too.
He says, you got a problem, Randy? Let's go outside in the parking lot and talk about it. Oh, no, that's okay, Hulkster.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy Hart actually told us that Hogan was actually kind of just being cordial. He wasn't even,
Right,
threatening Macho.
It wasn't like he called him out hard. He says, if we got a problem, let's go out and talk about it. He wasn't coming in blowing smoke, but Macho was blowing so much smoke in the long run that Hogan had to say something to him.
All right, I got to warn you, the next couple names we've lost over the few years, and some of them are real shocks to me. How about Miss Elizabeth?
Miss Liz, God bless her, I really enjoyed Liz, and I spit on that no-good jerk that beat her up. I mean, Lex Luger, gas to the max. What kind of man would raise a fist to Liz? You could bruise Liz up by yelling at her. And a friend of mine, Scott Everhart, a financial dude, went to her funeral, and said she still had cake makeup on from all the bruising that jerk did to her. I loved Liz. I thought she was a great little girl and was a really classy lady of professional wrestling.
How about Hercules?
Herc was a tragic story, man. He just was one of those guys you knew down the road his life was just going to catch up with him, and it did.
How about one half of, in my opinion, the greatest tag team of all time, Road Warrior Hawk?
Hawk, yeah, I got along okay with Hawk. We weren't really buddies, but I got along pretty good with Hawk. And like you said, I agree with you. I think they were one of the greatest tag teams.
How about probably the funniest guy that I know in the business and history, Kurt Hennig?
Kurt was a very good friend of mine. Been to Kurt's house, he's been to mine. Kurt could rib anywhere, anybody, and he just was a lot of fun to have on the road. But just another guy with a tragic end. These guys got to realize as you get older, you can't do the things that you used to do, and it caught up with him. And it was a shame, with his family, a bunch of little girls and boys, and just to pass away like that in a hotel room, it was tragic.
Yeah. We only got two more depressing ones, then we have two more after that, and then we'll let you go. But thank you so much for your time. The last two that I have for you that are depressing is the Big Boss Man.
Big Boss, yeah. I had Big Boss Man's last match with him over in Tokyo, Japan, when I beat him for the IWA heavyweight title over there. And he didn't look good in Japan, and I'm sorry to see him go. But that whole group of guys, they all hung together. Kurt, Boss, Rude, and Von Erich, and all four of them are dead.
Well, yeah, the next one name actually was Rick Rude.
Yeah, Rude, I didn't really like Rude too much. He reminds me of a little macho. I think he believed his own press. He thought he was a big star, and he thought he was a tough guy, and I just didn't like him that much, to tell you the truth.
Okay, I got three names left for you, and then we'll let you go. The last is, three last ones are the guy that you probably wrestled more in your career than anybody else, Ted DiBiase.
Theodore DiBiase, old Teddy, yeah.
Yep.
Good to see Teddy change his life around. I've worked for Teddy on these his church shows, and he puts on a nice show. They put you up in the Hyatt or the Hilton, and it's a great payday, and it's a great bunch of folks. But I used to rib Teddy in the old days. I mean, we used to be like Dan Fielding on Night Court. If there was a girl, he was going to hit on her. If we're going through the airport, and you only see this girl for 10 minutes, Teddy would hit on her. Of course, I always had one of my best interviews. I always thought I'd say, Ted DiBiase may be the greatest technical wrestler in the sport today, but he can't fight a lick. And when you get in the ring with me, DiBiase, it's going to be a fight. Hey, Duggan, geez, don't say that. Every night I go out, I have trouble.
Eric, you want to take the next one?
Yeah. How about Eric Bischoff?
Eric, I don't know really what to say about Bischoff. He's a guy that obviously must be good at what he does because he's still around, surprisingly. He was a kind of Napoleonic type person, a small little guy that, as he got more and more power, he got harder and harder to deal with. At the end, I called my wife one day and I said, honey, if I didn't have two little girls, I would have dropped him tonight. But it changes things when you have a family. So the one thing good I can say about Bischoff and the WCW is when I was going through my cancer ordeal, they did stick by me and keep me on contract and were supportive. So no matter, personally how much I dislike the guy, I got to, give him kudos for standing up when the chips were down.
How about Vince?
Vince, like I said before, he's a promoter. I respect Vince, and to this day, I still make money off Vince McMahon. I mean, every quarter I get a residual check. These last new action figures that came out, the Jakks Pacific WW action figures.
Those are cool.
Yeah, they're great. Kind of gave all the old-timers a little extra boost, and especially over in Japan, has really kind of helped me over there. And you know, even on the independent shows or radio shows, anything anybody wants to talk about, it's very seldom WCW or Mid-South. Everybody wants to talk about the WWF. So I thank Vince for giving me that opportunity to make some money up there and make my name, but I wouldn't invite him to my house for Christmas.
Well, we definitely thank you for your time, Hacksaw. It's been an absolute honor. And remember, everyone, check out the website.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
HacksawJimDuggan.com.
And thank you so much for your time, sir. And
okay, fellas, now before we go, guys, I got to get a decent hoe out of you boys. Are you ready?
All right.
I want to know that pussy Ric Flair. Woo! I don't understand how Rick gets so high, you know. I think his pants are too tight or something. But we're going to get a big hoe. You guys ready? Here we go, fellas. Oh, USA! I'm starting to fire up now, tough guy.
This is your president and WWE Hall of Famer, Donald Trump. If you like this Wrestling Epicenter content, don't be greedy. Subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Interactive Interview. We're joined here by Nikolai Volkoff. Nikolai, how you doing?
Thank you very much. Very good.
It's good to have you on. Good to have you on. You just, of course, everybody now knows the news that you're going to be inducted into the class of 2005 WWE Hall of Fame. Do you consider this an honor?
Yes, I'm happy with that. I'm happy. I'm very, very happy with it. Because the WWE is one of the biggest, wrestling organization in the world, And I'm very proud to be part of it.
Going way back in time, what made you decide you wanted to be a wrestler?
Oh, wrestling was always in my family. My great-grandfather was a world champion. He was a bodyguard for King Prince Joseph of Bulgaria monarchy. And I saw lots of his picture back home on the wall. And I never met him. I just saw his picture and people talk about him. They even wrote books about him and they make him like a national hero back home. And I was always proud of him. And then my father was, wrestler too. And then I decided, to start wrestling too.
Who trained you?
In Europe, I was trained by my father first, because I was very, very young. I was only like 5 years old. Then when I got about 8, my father put me in a club, and I saw wrestling in a club, and I was doing pretty good.
The rumor I hear is that your first match was against Bruno Sammartino. Any truth to this? No, not the first half. No. How was it like working with Bruno, though?
I was very excited. I even told him, I said, Mr. Sammartino, so I was very young then. I was like, my God, that was 19. The first time I met Sammartino was 1969. I was just coming to make TV for WWF, that time.
Right.
And I met Bruno in, I believe it was in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, old Philadelphia Arena.
Yep.
And I told him, I said, Mr. Sammartino, I'm glad to meet you because I'll have your picture in my scrapbook here from Europe. And he said, what a little bastard.
He said that?
Yeah, he was, kidding.
Oh, okay. Early on, you were part of the tag team. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. The Mongols?
Yes, the Mongols. That's why I met Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah. How did you enjoy your tag team with them?
My partner was Guido Mongo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guido Mongo was a very experienced wrestler, and he kind of helped me a little bit, by the business. When we come to New York, we made at that time, we made TV first, TV tape first, and then we go on the road, regular road.
Yeah. It wasn't live TV back then. No.
And then when we come to Philadelphia Arena for TV, was only like 400 people there. That's what they drawed for the rest of the time.
Wow.
When people saw us, next time it was sold out.
Wow.
It was like 17,000 people. So that was a big difference, I guess, from wherever they did that. And then my partner told me, yes, we're going to make some money here. And then first match, it was in Madison Square Garden. And the best house they ever had in a garden was a half a house, Bruno and Koloff. And when we come in, the Mongols, we sold it out.
Wow.
Because it was something new, something different people never saw before. I guess I was a big, over 300-pound guy, no fat.
Yeah, you were... Absolutely. Your character has always been the Russian, and of course at that time it was the Cold War, and it was Russia against the United States. And did you ever feel that your character went quote unquote too far?
No, because when I met Fred Blassie, I told him, I don't want to be any more bad guy. I escaped from Russia, but I should support the bastards. And he said, Nikolai, if you hate him, is the best way to help the people there. When you left, to tell people how beautiful they are, how good they are, and the people start hate you, and you're making good money. That's what we did. We did a good job.
Do you still watch WWE TV today?
Yes, that's all I watch it.
What is your opinion, and I'm not sure if you've seen it, of the Muhammad Hassan character?
I didn't see it, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
I don't watch the TV that much anymore because they come in Baltimore, they come late, and I'm asleep at that time. That's my bedtime.
He plays he plays an Arab American basically, so it's kind of a similar gimmick to yours. Anyway, of course, you wrestled Hulk Hogan on Saturday Night's Main Event. That's probably the most accessible match of your career because people still today trade it all over the place. How was it like working with Hulk?
To me, Hulk was no wrestler. He was a cartoon artist.
You don't...
And I believe he killed the business.
You believe Hulk Hogan killed the business?
Yes. He came in, I believe he killed the business.
Wow.
You don't see him anymore with WWF, is it?
So I take it you weren't a fan of the things like the cartoon show then?
No. I was from old school. See, in Europe, if you will become professional wrestler at that time, you have to be amateur champion. So I was amateur champion. That's how I became professional wrestler.
So when you think of the 80s boom period, what do you think was made it so popular then that didn't make it popular now? I don't even understand that question. Sorry, I was reading a question from the fans, but I'm a little thrown off by the fact that you think Hogan killed the business, because a lot of people say he made it. I don't know.
How the heck he made it?
I don't know. I'm just saying what they said.
When I was in the car the first time, I sold it out. We have 6 matches in the car.
Wow.
The Hogan became champion, they have to hit 20 matches. And they still couldn't draw.
Yep.
Except for the big show like WrestleMania, that's a different story.
Yeah, speaking of WrestleMania, you were at WrestleMania 3 in front of 93,000 fans. First of all, there's a controversy on the internet if people believe or not that there actually was 93,000 fans there.
Oh yes, it was all that was right. That was true.
Oh, I believe that to be true, but a lot of people say it was actually 78, but I disagree with that completely. But I do believe that it was 93.
Oh yeah, probably more too.
How did you enjoy wrestling in front of such a huge audience?
Well, it's much easier.
Is it?
Yes, the more people, better you feel better.
Is it like adrenaline or something that gets flowing?
Yes. Yeah, you see. See, when you get on the ring, you have a good crowd. Even if you are tired, you get you as soon as you put your wrestling shoes, go on the ring, you feel great. I did anyway, every time. Sometimes we have a long trips, not enough sleep. As soon as I come to the ring, I felt great.
At WrestleMania 6, you had a really short match against the Hart Foundation, and it was actually in Bret Hart's home country. A person coming in from the forums wants to know, why was the match so short, if there's a story behind it or anything?
I think Sheik will try to catch Billy Blaine.
That sounds like Sheik. You worked with Sheik for many years. How did you get along with the Sheik?
We get along very good. I love Sheik. He's a good friend even now. I talk to him once in a while. And he's a great wrestler.
Yeah, we had Marty Jannetty on the show, and he had nothing but hysterical stories to tell about the Iron Sheik for like an hour.
Yeah, I don't go into it.
They turned you face in 1990 when the Cold War had obviously ended, and they put you with Hacksaw and Jim Duggan. Did you enjoy being a babyface as much as being a heel?
Yeah. Yeah, I did because, I escaped from Russia. I escaped from communist country.
Right.
And when the communism was finished, I didn't have any more reason to play part. Be a bad guy. But that was not good. Russia, I mean, the Russian people are beautiful people, don't get me wrong. Except the politics was very, very wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The first feud you had as a good guy that I can recall was against Sergeant Slaughter. How'd you enjoy working with Sarge?
Yeah, I like Sarge. Sarge was a very nice man. I think he was a very good guy. And my first match as a good guy was against Boris Zukov.
Yeah, that was your former tag team partner.
Yes.
Yes. You seemed to pretty much disappear off TV for a little while after the Survivor Series 1990. You did come back for the Royal Rumble, but what was going on that you started to no longer be part of the everyday show?
I was left a little bit of time in Europe and Japan, and I took some time off to be with my family. Because when you wrestle, for WWF, you're on the road every day. And afterward, you retire.
Oh, I can imagine. Absolutely. In 1992 and 1993, you made appearances for a company called ECW. Is this the same ECW that later became the equivalent of, I guess you would say, hardcore wrestling?
I guess so.
Yeah. What was your opinion of that company?
In my opinion, it was cartoon.
Cartoon?
Yes.
In 1995, you returned as a part of the $1 Million Corporation. For weeks, they pretty much humiliated you with Ted DiBiase, and you never really seemed to get your comeuppance at the end. You never seemed to get your revenge.
Yes, I did. I wrestled DiBiase in Boston Peter show.
You did? I didn't remember. How did you enjoy that entire gimmick?
I think that was a little bit, crazy, but, they start from wrestling to entertainment, so.
Did you think, was the company different at that point than it was in the 80s?
Yeah. Business started to change when Hogan came in on the picture. A little bit, a little bit.
I hear you're running a training school. Is there any truth to this?
No.
No truth to that at all. Wow. I got a lot of bad questions coming in from the internet then, huh?
Yeah.
Are you still wrestling from time to time?
Yeah.
How does it feel to get in the ring these days?
Well, I lost 60 pounds.
Oh?
70 pounds. I'm now weighing 270 pounds.
Wow.
And I feel good. Except today I have a little bit cold.
Yeah, and I apologize for keeping you so long with your voice.
There we go, wait.
Before we go into word associations, can I ask you a question? Looking back, it's pretty much a goofy question. It's another one coming in from the internet. I'm going to ask you this anyway, though. Looking back at your entire career, what moment defines who you are as a person? What wrestling moment defines, what's your highest moment in the history of in your wrestling career?
Well, I guess, lots of times that happened, more than one time. First time is when I was wrestling Louisiana. And somebody stole my Russian national tape. And it's a little bit story about that, but anyway. Because he was supposed to have it, he didn't have it. That's Jake's father. Jake the Snake's father.
Oh, yeah, Grizzly Adams.
Yeah,
Grizzly Smith.
Very nice man.
Yes.
He's supposed to bring the tape because I gave mine to the office to make a copy of it. It was a very hard time to find a Russian national, so I had to call my mother to mail me one. I took almost a month to get from there to here. And I was main event in New Orleans, was sold out. I was wrestling again against, I believe, Magnum PA.
Yeah.
Very nice guy, very nice gentleman.
Yeah, we had him on the show. He's a real good guy.
Yeah, how he's doing his health, he's still triple low.
Beg your pardon?
He's still hurt his foot or leg or something.
I think he's all right. I think he owns a cell tower now, a cellular phone tower, so he's doing pretty well. Doing pretty well for himself financially, so.
That's good for him. Good guy.
Yeah.
And when I wrestled him, I told Bill Watts told Grizzly, he was a promoter at the time, that if he don't have they don't play my tape in Russian Atlanta before the match, then you're going to be fined like, I don't know, $200, something like that. And he said, Nikolai, I'm screwed up, I'm going to be fined $200. I said, why? I don't have your tape. And I know you give your $2 to make a copy of it.
Is that when you started singing your national
I
anthem?
said, listen, don't worry about it. I have a better idea.
Mm-hmm.
I will sing tonight. So we told the people that I believe Junkyard Dog stole my tape, and I said, sorry to tell you, but tonight you'll be able to listen to Russian national anthem because Junkyard Dog stole my tape. And the people were happy as hell. I mean, they were screaming and cheering, you know. I said, when they stopped, I said, well, however, not disappoint you. I want you all to get respect of singing Russian national anthem.
Oh, wow. And that,
when I started singing Russian national anthem, that was the only time I got scared on the ring. Because there's so much heat and the hate. The people used to stamp their foot on the chairs. There was, I don't know, about 20,000 people where the building hall was so loud. It was so loud, I think the building was exploded.
wow. Yeah, and plus you were in the South.
I beat Magnum for the belt that time.
Wow.
And he was actually crying.
Wow. That's pretty impressive that the audience, you know, when I watched the tapes from the 80s and 70s of you when you did this, the crowd just absolutely hated it. I mean, they were all over you about it.
Yeah, because before it was no entertainment, it was a wrestling. It was different. But people change, wrestling change, you know.
Doubleheader edition of the Interactive Interview with Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Nikolai Volkoff. We're here now with one of the former OneWrestling.com, I guess you would call him, 5 horsemen, Chris Yandick. Chris, how you doing?
I really do not want to be referred to as a OneWrestling.com columnist anymore. One of the 5 horsemen, could have been 6 horsemen.
Well, you could have been the headless one.
Well, I could have been the headless horseman, but I've also could have been one of the 6 horsemen. If you count Georgiana McCarplis in there too, she did a lot of great things.
Yeah, she deserves a lot of respect. She's stuck by them too.
Yeah, she's going to WrestlingFigs.com right now, very soon, and she's leaving OneWrestling.com. Actually, finally, I think her contract's up. I'm not definitely sure on that, but she's moving on with her life too.
Well, I'm just going to tell you right now that she might be going to WrestlingFigs.com, but I'm going to WrestlingPrunes.com.
Sure, but for the most part, overall, you can just look at the whole situation. Like, she's been through a lot. You know, her close friendship with Bruno Sammartino is a wonderful thing, and time goes on, as you can see. But as we all know, OneWrestling.com isn't what it once was. PWInsider.com is the #1 wrestling site on the internet today, with all the real news, and they've been helping you out a lot, I know, of lately. But what we all must realize is that time goes on, wrestling goes on, even with the products down, and as my life goes on, there's more to life than professional wrestling, whether you're a fan or not. Good for you. But
Yandick, will you do me a favor?
if you're in the business, it's a very different story than if you're a fan in general. You know,
Yandick?
you can't say anything for the most part if you're just a fan, but if you actually live in the business, then you can say something. And now I will let James talk.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Since you said everything goes on, would you do me one little favor? Would you sing me My Heart Goes On by Celine Dion?
That song is so outplayed.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that, actually.
That song is like so outplayed that so many people have tried to perform that on such horrible reality shows as American Idol, which need to go away because they're too overexposed as it is. And I think that...
Let me ask you this, and this is one more question. I don't want to be a little goofy, but why is it every singer that's on American Idol does this? Why can't they just hold a note? Why do they have to go like it's a warped audio tape?
Because people think that, like, you know, opening your mouth like that shows that you have something special. I don't know. Maybe they're trying out for the next Tarzan role.
Well, the only way they'll make it in this business if they open their mouth.
I have a question.
Yeah, for the most
that's right. Mr. Clancy's also with us. He's been quiet, but he's here.
That's a miracle.
Thanks, Chris. There's another off-topic question. Okay, you can only pick one. Which one do you pick? Doritos Nacho Cheesier, Cool Ranch, or Black Pepper Jack?
I say Cool Ranch.
You probably take the nacho cheese. I love nacho cheese, but Cool Ranch is good every so often, but you're only going to have nacho cheese like once every 6 months.
What are you talking about? That's the most common brand.
There's regular nacho cheese, there's regular Cool Ranch, and then there's your pepper jack one. There's a red,
which I'm eating right now.
Okay, well, good for you.
I wasn't bragging. It was just stating the fact.
Yay! But for the most part, you know, all I can say to you for the most part is, I think that as we get back onto the topic, you know, I don't know how many people are listening.
Did we have a topic?
I don't know how many. I don't know how many.
No way out.
I don't know how many people are listening to this audio show since we've just gone through 2 interviews that you did with Nikolai Volkoff and you did with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. But you know, I hope people are listening to this.
Nikolai sucked.
Because I'm on it. And I'm giving you some wonderful feedback as always, and I'll probably give you some dirt before the hour's over, depending on how long.
Well, hopefully we won't stay an hour. I'd like to cut it. I'd like to actually try to cap this one off at 40 minutes, but who knows if that'll actually happen.
Why don't we actually get on topic as far as current events are going, and why don't we give a kind of pay-per-view
preview
rundown with No Way Out. I'll be the moderator. You guys can argue amongst yourselves about the matches. We'll start off with the first, and geez, there's not a lot of matches on this card. The first match, and this is just thrown out of nowhere, and I think it's a waste for Eddie to be here, but it's going to be Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio Jr. versus the Bashams for the World Tag Team titles. James, start us off.
Tag team titles don't mean anything anymore, not in either brand. For a while, they did mean a little bit of something on the SmackDown brand, but they seem to think that the only use for a tag team is to put 2 mongrel guys together because eventually they want to split them up and feud. And they give them the tag belts just for no apparent reason. So this is kind of what they do. They did that with Billy Kidman and, the little guy with the fluffy hair.
Paul London.
There you go, yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
How do you not know who Paul London is?
I don't know. I don't watch Velocity, so I don't know.
No, you should have been saying I don't follow Ring of Honor because that crowd loves you so much. But I agree with your point.
Oh yeah, I'm a big favorite on the Ring of Honor message board.
All right, well, James, predictions.
Yeah. I predict
for that match.
I predict the crowd will fall asleep about halfway through.
Nah, come on, seriously.
Okay.
That actually probably will happen though.
Okay, but
I say they probably give it to Eddie and Ray, just because they tend to just change the tag belts more than they change their underwear. So doesn't really
okay. Chris, any thoughts on the match?
Well, the only thing I can think of is the mask match where Rey Mysterio Jr. won the Cruiserweight title from Eddie Guerrero at that great Halloween Havoc pay-per-view back in, I believe it was '97.
Yeah.
It's a shame that these guys haven't feuded in WWE. They're not supposed to be a tag team. The only reason they are a tag team is because Rob Van Dam is injured right now. So there's no way they're going to win the belts. It's definitely going to be a retain, and it'd be meaningless for them to win the titles.
Well, definitely a logical point you bring up, but this is a brand that has not been built on logic. If we all remember when the Guerreros were chasing the greatest tag team ever,
world's greatest tag team. Get it right.
I'm sorry, world's greatest tag team. Chavo got injured and they brought in Tajiri, and everybody's like, oh, they're not going to win. But WWE likes to swerve for no other reason than to throw people off, not because of advanced storylines or create any more interest. So, you know,
it doesn't create interest. Absolutely so, and that's what's wrong with the business today. Absolutely,
so,
100%.
So that I mean, I agree with your logic, Chris, but let's not put stupidity under the WWE at this point. I'm going to go. Well, I'm going to go with Eddie and Ray just for the hell of it. Next match. This is another one of the tests for the Undertaker. Can he drag a good match out of an abysmal worker? Undertaker versus Luther Reigns. Why don't we start off with Mr. James Walsh?
Is Luther Reigns the big black guy, or is he the big white guy?
He's the big white guy.
Okay.
Have I watched SmackDown in 5 years? I don't think I have.
Now, who's the big black guy? Or at least the medium-sized black guy? Orlando Jordan. Yeah, I get him.
Jordan, who's was one of Rocky Johnson's students, who was The Rock's dad at one point.
I'm pretty sure he's still his dad.
No, I'm saying that, yeah, which was his dad at one point. Well, they don't get along. You have to understand that.
Do they not?
I could talk about that later and give you some stories about how I used to hang out with Rocky Johnson back in the Florida Championship Wrestling days.
Really?
We'll go into those after you finish the pay-per-views. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sure. To be honest with you, what was the match? Oh, the Undertaker. The Undertaker's going to win. And Heidenreich's going to come back.
What?
Heidenreich will come back in this match.
It seems like for no other reason other than having Undertaker wrestle a big guy.
Yeah, because I don't think Undertaker can work with a little guy, or they don't want to put a little guy in there.
I think it's just pretty funny, for the most part, that he's supposed to be a special attraction. And I don't mean to be negative about the business, but nobody cares about this pay-per-view. They really don't.
Oh, that's not negative about the business. That just shows how badly booked this pay-per-view is. But, James, can we get a prediction?
I say...
Taker's got to freaking win. This is, like, unbelievable if he...
Well, I'd agree with that, but all I'm going to say is it'll probably be a schmoz finish, and I think Heidenreich comes back.
All right, thoughts on the match, Chris?
Undertaker wins. If they bury Undertaker, what's the point of even having him still in the company at this point?
I agree, Undertaker wins. I agree, Heidenreich may come back, though. Next match. The winner will get a title shot at WrestleMania as the #1 contender, Kurt Angle versus John Cena. James?
I think you'd have to be an idiot not to see the writing on the wall that it's going to be Cena against JBL.
Which we called, by the way, back in August.
Yeah. We had talked about that several times, and yeah, it's going to be Cena and JBL, and it's going to be Michaels and Kurt Angle, so I predict that you'll probably see Shawn Michaels at the pay-per-view.
I would agree with that, so you obviously think Cena goes over.
Yeah.
All right, Chris?
Cena goes over. Obviously, he needs to be the new world champion. If they don't give it to him now, it's never. Might be already too late, as your buddy Bill Apter already said. I just don't know how longer you can do this whole situation, and for the most part, whatever happens will happen. And I think that all you can really say about it is, you know, if it's going to be John Cena versus Bradshaw, I mean, we already know this. What's the point of this cage match with barbed wire? Just to have a special attraction?
Because they have to have a main event.
Why even have the title on the line if we know that he's not going to lose the title?
Well, actually, WCW did that at Halloween Havoc 97.
Yeah, I know, when Piper pinned Hogan, which
he didn't pin him.
Well, whatever. I don't.
It made absolutely no sense to have that match.
No,
but they did.
Yeah.
And Piper won it, so what else is new?
The match was horrible. The only cool thing about it was at the end, Macho jumps like 80,000 feet onto Piper. I mean, he misses, but it's so cool to see him jump that high.
Yeah, that's when he could still jump.
I mean, men can jump.
But that was like 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Let's see. Let's calculate. That was 8 years ago. Yeah.
6, 7, 8 years ago, which basically meant he could jump at that time, but he sure can't jump today.
6, 7, 8. Shamil. Shamazel. Something Incorporated.
All right.
We're gonna make it.
This is. I mean, I think they've got like 5 matches on this card.
Well, they're gonna. Well, that's because they don't have the main attractions there, which will put Charlie Haas against Scotty 2 Hottie, and
Hardcore Holly jobbing out somebody.
And Hardcore Holly's going to beat the tar out of Rene Dupree.
Yeah.
And remember Kenzo Suzuki versus someone.
Yeah.
And Kenzo's probably versus like Shannon Moore.
Yeah. So that'll be that's the special attractions that we're all waiting
really
for.
So dying, hoping to hear about. It's like, why not throw a hardcore invitational match into this pay-per-view? I mean,
they could have it in a junkyard.
Yeah.
Where people nearly die and get disemboweled.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously so. But, I mean, for the most part, we look at this whole situation, and why watch wrestling? Why watch SmackDown? I mean, Raw, okay. But does anyone really care about SmackDown? They're the lame duck show right now. Nobody cares about JBL. Nobody thinks JBL deserves the position he has, obviously.
We do.
I think he does. I think he's worked hard for it.
Wow. He's a crap talent wrestler who was a tag team wrestler who got really lucky.
I thought that a few months ago. I've changed my mind. I mean,
I'm not saying that he hasn't worked hard in the matches as far as what he can do, but he's not an Angle, and he's not a, he's not an Undertaker.
You're right. He's healthy and can work a full schedule.
Well, he's healthy and he can work a full schedule, but I'm saying, as a general wrestler, I don't see JBL as the world champion.
Here's the problem, though, with Angle, and I don't have a problem with Angle because he can deliver fine SmackDown matches. Angle has the yet, and you can bombard me with hate mail for this, but he has yet to deliver an epic main event, a match that you can say, oh, you look back and you say, oh, that match, that was, I was on the edge of my seat.
A lot of
name one match. Name one match.
He's had the matches. Every match with Chris Benoit has always been really good.
No. Good work rate, good match is not the same as an epic match. If anyone can name me one epic match, feel free, because I have yet to find one, and I've pretty much seen every angle.
Probably the one where he beat The Rock for the world title. I think that was pretty good.
Okay, maybe that. But on general, he's not a guy like Shawn Michaels. He's not, and by the way, a guy who can deliver epic matches is not necessarily a great worker, and other way around too. Like the Ultimate Warrior, terrible worker, but when the time called for it, with like Hogan, he can get the job done with that. I mean, if you wanted him to do another a match on a TV show, I mean, the guy would stink up the arena, but he could deliver the.
He was the precursor to Goldberg. He was a good.
I think Goldberg was a better worker than Ford.
He came in, and people didn't want to see him work and get beat up and then come back. People wanted to see him come in, shake the ropes, dun, 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 dun. They wanted to see him shake, throw his hands in the air, 3 clotheslines, big splash, that's it.
Well, my point is this. Kurt's got a fantastic chance at WrestleMania. If he working with Shawn Michaels, possibly one of the best in-ring workers of all time, and he can't get an epic match with him, then, I mean, his legacy as a main event guy is definitely going to be tarnished in my eyes. Bradshaw, I think, has done a fantastic...
Angle Lesnar, Mania, like 1980.
That was terrible.
Are you kidding? That match was probably had more mistakes in it than...
Well, remember, Angle was working with like a broken neck.
Yeah,
okay.
And I give him credit for that, absolutely.
Yeah, but if I go out and I play football and I got a broken leg and I have a horrible game, oh well, guys, I had a broken leg, so it was still a good game, but my leg was broken.
Yeah, but the difference between that and playing in wrestling is that you're against one guy and you're a main attraction on a football field. You can actually hide that.
No, but the thing was the match was. It had so many botches in it, and did anybody care? There was like 8,000 finishes, and it just got ridiculous at a point. It was so overblown. I mean, and not in like the good way, like everything's leading up to this. I mean,
well, here's the thing. I hate when people say
sucked out of that match when Lesnar hits his face on the mat because he was a friggin' idiot and he thought he could do an aerial move.
Well, he's more man than any of us for trying that.
He's also an idiot.
He's more man than any of us for trying that.
Yeah, that was crazy. But listen, I hate when people say something is overbooked, especially if they say it regarding gimmicks leading up to it. For example, let's talk about Halloween Havoc 2000 when Jeff Jarrett was doing the Many Sting gimmick.
What about it?
Everybody on the internet said that match was, quote, overbooked. Now, why was it
used in the proper context, though?
They were saying that having people come to the ring, but all those fake stings and from all his previous looks and colors and all that stuff, they said that was way overblown and way overbooked.
I'm using overblown in the sense that there were 12 F5s in that match.
Yeah, there was, and that was ridiculous. I mean, a finisher has to...
Yeah,
I'm going to give... you know what? People bash Missy Hyatt. They call her an idiot. They call her this, that, and the other. She said something... We do like Missy, and I have very much respect for Missy. She said to me one time on the phone, and this remains true in my mind. We were just talking after an interview, I think it was the Christmas edition. She said to me, the only problem I have with working for the Bang promotion is that I'm standing at ringside watching the young guys work, and I see 3 moves done 3 in a row, and I'm thinking all 3 of those moves are finishes.
Well, I agree with you, and I agree with Missy. But here's the thing, and let me ask you something, Chris. If Brock hits 4 F5s on Kurt, can't pin him, next week he goes out and he pins Benoit with 1 F5. I mean, how does that make Benoit look? How does that make the F5 look? I mean, it just, number one, it doesn't make sense. Number two, it's illogical. And number three, it's just, I mean, using like having a guy kick out of a finisher once in a while in like a huge setting, it's fine.
Kane kicking out of the Undertaker.
Yeah, that was fine because Kane was built up to be like a friggin' behemoth. But I mean, you can't do it all the time, and that's one of the negative aspects of ECW.
Yeah, but you're not the booker. That's what I'm saying. You're not the booker.
I know I'm not the booker. I'm just saying that is not good booking.
Yeah, but you're not.
Well, I don't even think the booker has anything.
Hollywood writer who doesn't know anything about wrestling. That's what I'm trying to say to you. They don't know anything about wrestling. That's the people they hire. They don't know anything about wrestling. They hire people who who are from who wrote there was one guy who I forget what his name is. We all know who he is, but he wrote like one show for Friends, and he ended up as part of the WWE crew. I forget what his name is, but I know it. But I know by the end of this interview, I'll probably think of it. But I know of all of them.
If only we were back in the days of Chris Kresge. By the way, I say that with sarcasm.
Sure.
That guy's got to be the most overrated writer in history.
He was the tag team writer. I mean, that's what he did. He put everybody in tag matches.
Yeah.
There was nothing. I don't know.
I mean, look at WrestleMania 2000. I think there was one singles match.
Singles match except for Terry and Cat on that card.
And even that had to have a special referee.
I'm sorry. I don't see anyone who can think that the Kresge booked WWE was better than the Russo booked WWE. I mean, the ratings will attest to it, and don't say, oh, blah 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 blah. That the ratings were still high under Kresge. That was just the fallout from Russo. Just like in the NFL, when a new coach will inherit the old coach's team, the first year that system will stay in place, and you'll see the results in the previous year.
I loved Head Cheese, honestly. So.
But, I mean, the thing is, bottom line is Russo had the highest-rated Raw of all time. Russo had the highest-rated match of all time on cable TV. I mean, numbers speak for themselves. You can't argue with numbers.
What was the highest-rated match of all time?
Austin versus Undertaker.
Oh, wow. Because I remember they were setting...
That's the one when Austin won the title back.
They were setting all new records all the time on those Monday night shows. I remember Hogan, Savage...
They did an 8.0 for the main event that was, which was actually pretty good. It was Austin, Rock, and Vince versus Undertaker, Triple H, and Shane.
Well, that's when the business was absolutely booming.
On fire, yeah. But let's get back on task here. Championship, first ever in WWE history.
Very similar.
Steel cage match. JBL.
We're gonna fill our shoes. Woo!
Versus Big Show.
The reason that I said that is because they had this match with Hogan and Flair on Censor 99, and it was a first blood match. And they put barbed wire at the top, as Flair would say. And they were going to fill their shoes, as Flair put it, which I still have yet to figure out what the hell that means. But
okay, well,
back to the point. It was a first blood match, and Flair was bleeding all over the place, and he won by a pinfall. Go figure.
Well, this is not WCW unorganized going along.
Okay.
So, I think Vince will have a finish for those guys going out there, and we all know what the finish is already going to be. We know JBL is retaining the title some way, somehow. I don't even think the belt should be on the line this match. I think
JBL should go over cleanly.
I think it should
so he's prepped for Cena.
I think it should just be some hardcore, bloody match where, everything else.
Well, I agree.
With those two guys, I can't see them delivering a Matt Classic. It's going to be brutal. They're going to beat the crap out of each other.
Here's how I would book it. The fans are going in with massive expectations. Tell me if you guys agree with this. The fans are going in with lowered expectations. They know what the writing on the wall is. They know it's going to be JBL and Cena, and Cena's going to win the title. So why not give these guys an actual...
Not all fans are smarks.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Not all fans are smart.
He said not all fans are smart.
Oh yeah, I agree. Well, for the most part, though, there's not too many people excited about this match. So why not give them just an actual, like you said, just a total brutal match? Like have some really sick stuff. Like have Big Show grinding the wire across JBL's forehead. Have him just throw him up against the wall and just have some really brutal stuff. So at least it'll be.
And while he's at it, why doesn't he go get a gun and?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Anyway, just have something that when they're done, they'll be like, well, that wasn't a really great book card, but man, that was kind of a sick main event,
Well, that's the thing that has to happen when you have poorly booked cards. The guys have to step it up a notch so you can mask the fact.
No, it's the guys on the top have to step it up for the guys on the bottom because they're the ones who are carrying a show that's not that good anyways at the beginning.
Right. And that's the problem with SmackDown. I just don't think it's very, very well booked at this point. They say that it's the same booking team on both shows now, but I tend to doubt that.
It's not. It's Dave Lagana or whatever on SmackDown and Steph on Raw.
It's just like when you take a pair of poker cards out, and I can't believe I'm using the saying, and you get a 2 and a 3.
When you take a pair of poker cards,
an ace and a 6 than a 2 and a 3, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I don't. But
Yeah, well, if you have a 2 and a 3,
I challenge you to a poker duel.
you better hope a 4, 5, 6 come out to get us straight on a Hold'em game.
And then we can go to the
I
pub.
don't know how to play Hold'em.
I know that's like the most popular one of these days. I have to admit something. I'm
my roommate played it last year.
I'm gonna tell you just in the general factor of the matter, in general about things. How do I say this? Online poker is becoming so popular with teenage kids these days. It's almost going back to the cold days of professional wrestling when we had the boom period, and I'm not joking how popular it's becoming. It's becoming the next big...
No, I agree with you.
It's becoming the next big, huge, not fad, but...
I mean, you see all these world poker things on TV. You see
all these...
I
mean, it's just like... It's becoming like what wrestling was in the late 90s.
Yeah, you walk around... I mean, I wouldn't go that far since it's like apples and oranges, but I walk around, I see people in the lounges all the time in my dorm playing poker.
Yeah.
And I started it all.
Yeah.
I am to thank for it all. Next thing you know, we'll all be hanging out with 50-year-old men in the pub.
All right. So let's recap the interviews a little bit. I really enjoyed Hacksaw.
I really didn't enjoy Nikolai.
All right, what do you think
do I really care? Well, I haven't heard them yet, so how would I know?
Please don't knock our show while you're on it.
Hacksaw challenges Austin, let's just say that.
Let me just put it to you this way.
Your show sucks.
Other radio shows suck, but not this one. I could name a list, but I'm not going to go shooting off on people because they'll think you guys said it then, because most of them aren't smart enough to realize who's saying what. For the most part, what we can say is let's just get off this whole WWE topic and we'll just shoot the breeze for the next, 20 minutes.
Or as I like to call it, we.
Yes. And for the most part, I guess, bring up a topic and we'll talk about it. I don't care, whatever you want to talk about.
By the way, Chris Yandick is a very... we want to thank Chris for all his help. He's been a fantastic asset to the show, and he's definitely a fantastic affiliate of ours.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I've been in the background helping these guys pretty much with all the ideas for interviews for the most part, and the two that you were given on this show was pretty much thanks to me, but they did arrange the interviews themselves, which I had nothing to do with whatsoever.
We're big boys.
So the views and expressions and
we wipe our own ass.
Interviews were not responsible because...
Correct. Mr. Yandick is our quote-unquote booker, I guess you can say.
Not really, though, because I'm the storyline guy, because I basically give you the assistance, and for the most part, you go with it. But, overall, I'm out of the business. Everybody knows that already. I think I don't have to say this enough. I'm sick of people pondering on whether I am or not. I
ponder a lot.
Pondering is good if you're an everyday life person and you don't know who
I
growing up. That's fine.
Who.
We don't have to sing here, thank you.
Who wrote the book of love?
Then I'll have to get into a singing and no one's going to want to hear that, okay?
Well, I've already asked you to start singing that Celine Dion song.
For the most part, it's not like we're sitting around the couch and we all have a cowboy hat like Vince McMahon, Kurt Angle, and Austin, which is like the most classic comedy I ever saw in my life.
When was
I did
this?
that about every comedy bit.
That was so funny, though. Those were hilarious. Those were like the best.
I did like when he kept hugging McMahon. That was pretty funny.
Who kept hugging him?
Austin.
Why?
He just liked hugging McMahon.
It was pretty funny, though. That was really funny, though, when they got each other the cowboy hats. That was really funny stuff.
Yeah.
And I also loved when Goldust was a crocodile hunter, and when he was Ben Franklin. That was so funny, too. Those are the days that I miss.
Well, Austin might have fallen in love with Vince because he hit him so often that he thought he was a woman.
Yeah, that was, that was pretty well, if you ask me, but a good joke. But for the most part, I'm out of the business. Everybody knows that. I kind of passed my legacy to these guys, and everybody knows that. And we'll see what happens as far as my future goes.
King Kong Sanalsi.
You know to catch me at www.thesportsinterview.com, and James will have a big link for me on the front page tomorrow morning.
Yes, he will, actually.
Thesportsinterview.com?
Yeah,
check him out. Chris interviews actually some really big names, and if you're a sports fan like I am, you really ought to check it out. And speaking of stuff that we've got going on, I mean, we're expanding massively. Actually, the radio deal. Can I say it, James?
We're set. We're going to start.
Confirmed. We are going to be on live radio. It is official. We got a massive number of announcements here. I'll start off. Obviously, RVD was pushed back to this Saturday. We got him. He's confirmed. So we're going to have RVD Send in your questions on the new forums. We got another thing, new forums up. So log on to those.
I like this design a lot better.
I can't imagine how long the recap for this thing is going to be.
It's not going to be much longer. We're going to try to.
Yeah, we're just covering some basic information here.
No, I mean, for when you put the press release out for this thing, I can imagine how long the recap is going to be for this thing.
2 interviews.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to do a recap to an interview when a guy just says, "I don't like Hulk Hogan. He killed the business."
Okay, so back on task here. RVD, obviously, this...
I mean, I respect Nikolai for coming on, and I appreciate it, but I just didn't think that was the best interview that I've ever done. Yeah.
All right, let me just get these news items out of the way, guys. So we got RVD on Saturday. We got the new forums up. Be sure to register. We really need you guys on there. We need you to hear what you need.
And I set it up so everybody knows that I set it up that you actually do have to register to post.
Yes, you must register. Please register. Trust me, it will benefit you in the long run. Another big news...
And it's free.
It is free. It takes 8 seconds at the most. I mean, just do it. We're trying to get a lot of posters up there.
Okay, I got an idea. I'm going to pull a contest out of my head right here now.
That might hurt.
I've got some extra copies of Tatum Brown, Mick Foley's book from, like, last year. If there's actually people who email me and say they listen to the after show, just so we know how many people are listening, if you email me, or James, or Eric, and they forward it to me, I'll send somebody out a copy of Tatum Brown just to see who's listening to this freaking after show.
Good.
And if you go to my website, too, I'll actually give you some extra points to get to that book in the first place. But I'll email you out a free copy of Tatum Brown, which was Mick Foley's autobiography from last year. I've got about 2 or 3 copies left.
Autobiography?
Well, it was, okay.
It's a fiction book.
It's a fiction book. It's freaking 12:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here. Hello. Have you ever corrected your mother and got slapped in the face, son?
No.
You have.
No, my parents don't hit me.
Maybe they should have.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm kidding. Okay, and the other announcement is...
abusive parents.
Okay, back to the news.
Okay, yeah, let me get these items out of the way here.
Bites,
All right, another big thing. Speaking of contests, obviously we're going to have the Death of WCW contest up very soon. Another huge contest. Adam Ryland has a new game out. It is called Wrestling Spirit Rookie to Legend. If you don't know about these games, then you obviously haven't been big in the wrestling sim market. I have been playing these since '99. They are incredible. He's been releasing promoter sims. Now he's got a career sim. I played the demo. It's absolutely phenomenal. We're gonna have a review up once I get a copy to review. And
he's played the demo.
Ryland is gonna be kind enough to give us a copy to give to you. We're gonna have a contest up, probably a stump the host type thing, and we'll get that out to you.
I could probably easily stump like James.
I don't think so.
No, you could.
I was thinking of some questions yesterday, actually.
Fire one off, buddy.
I was trying to think of the one that I was... Bring
it on.
Where did Hacksaw Jim Duggan play college football?
He said in the interview, it was like, Jesus, it was some hick place. See, better not say that.
I don't care. Anyway, Adam Ryland.
Look what you just did. You just defended the whole southern population.
Hey, I'm a Republican. They know I'm with them.
But I'm not.
Yes.
Anyway.
You're not either.
Right.
It would be Southern Methodist University.
Yeah.
I just stumped you.
SMU. But yeah, but that's really not a good question. Ask me another one.
No, stop it. Okay.
No, one more. Come on.
Where did Steve Uncle McMichael play college football?
Chicago University. The University of Tijuana.
The University of Texas. Wrong again.
Mexico State.
The University of Texas. I just stumped you again.
Well, I don't know anything about... You know what? I'm not Jim Ross. I don't know where the guys played college football.
A great defensive lineman from the University of Tijuana.
Right.
University of Tijuana.
Okay, back to this. So we're gonna...
wasn't it also Mexico State?
New Mexico State is...
You guys need to shut up for like 2 seconds.
We're talking about like Mountain West Conference football.
Okay, hold on. Let me just get this stuff out of the way.
Like that
Adam Ryland's giving us a copy, so we're going to have a review up for you. We're going to have a free copy to give away. So check out the updates on the site. James will be updating you as we get it. Also, big news, we actually have a band we're going to have in the opening, in our brand new live kickoff kick-ass show.
Which will also be, that's what we're going to call it too. We're going to call it the Big Ass Kick-Ass Show. No, we're not. Just kidding. It's going to be Tuesday at 7 7 Mountain Standard Time. That would be 9 o'clock Eastern Time. I'll have a link up so you guys can listen to the live stream, so you don't feel left out if you're not in the Mesa, Phoenix, Tempe area, which I doubt many of you are. But if you're listening from there, that's tremendous, but you can catch us on 1260 AM. But if you're anywhere else, listen on the internet at theblaze1260.com. I'll have a direct link to listen live.
So that's going to be fantastic. So,
well, you better tell them what kind of players you can listen to the thing with, because
it's real player.
Yeah, okay, well then you better let them know.
Well, if they're listening to this, they already have enough equipment.
Yeah, this is where you find out all the news.
Right.
And
anyway, we're going to have the band is 68 Guns. They are basically like a hair metal cover band. They're pretty cool though. They opened for LA Guns last year because Beautiful Creatures backed out of the show, believe it or not. So they came in and filled in.
I guess Guns N' Roses canceled, right?
Beautiful Creatures.
So funny.
Beautiful Creatures canceled. LA Guns are. Axl Rose, who's the lead singer of Guns N' Roses, actually used to be a member of LA Guns, but he's not now. But anyway, they walked out.
I'm not Dave and Buck Woodward talking about Bruce Springsteen and Sammy Hagar and all these rock people that I've never heard of. The only one I've ever heard of that they ever talk about is like Bruce Springsteen, obviously, which is like Dave Scher's biggest one ever. Shout out to Dave if he's actually listening to this. But for the most part, we'll talk about PW Insider in a few, but go ahead.
Sure. Anyway, they're going to come in and they're going to do an acoustic show for us, hopefully so, and we will have that on the live edition, hopefully. If not the first episode, then at least in the first couple episodes. We'll have them on. And they're going to perform, I think I'm going to ask them if they could perform a song that I love by the band Duggan. It's called Alone Again, and we will play that at the end of this interview since it's my turn.
Mirror, tell me more. Remember that one?
Discussion topic.
This is Mirror, Mirror, yeah, but that's actually Don Dawkins' solo material.
I know, I like that song, though.
That's really cool.
Dream Warriors is their best, though. That or Breaking the Chains.
Breaking the chains
around you. Nobody else can find you. Take a good look around you.
Now you're breaking the chains.
Okay, that's what.
So Hacksaw had us both do a Ho and USA chant at the same time, and now we both sang "Breaking the Chains" at the same time. I think we're starting to see a little bit too much of each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we got RVD coming up on Saturday. We got the live show. We got 68 Guns playing for us. We got Adam Ryland's game coming out. We're gonna have the Death of WCW books. We got so much crap going down, and crap in a good way. For you guys to win, for you guys to listen to the new forums. Be active in the forums. The more you're active, trust me, RSBH is gonna. I mean, trust me, he's like got first consideration for everything since he's such an active poster.
Yeah, we might actually just send him some free stuff just for being so active.
Yeah, because he sends in massive amounts of questions. The guy is an active member.
On the old forums, he sent in absolutely incredible questions for both Hacksaw and Nikolai, and we used a lot of those questions. So
I mean, we'll put you. If you just post a lot, we're going to put you in for consideration for a lot of this stuff anyway. So most active posters get this stuff, and it's
get free stuff, right?
And all you have to do is like talk about wrestling, which we all like doing anyway. So.
And it's not just amount of posts; it's also quality of posts.
Yannick, are you going to join?
Not like I'm actually going to post ever unless someone's got.
Oh well, thanks, Yannick. That's fantastic.
It's just I don't have time, guys.
Yes,
I barely have. Okay.
Yes, you do.
Okay, we're gonna go over this whole thing.
Yannick's like, we gotta cover the NHL.
Yeah, no hockey league anymore.
No hockey league, NHL.
I came up with that one about like 5 nights ago, and James was laughing then, and he still is. But for the most part, I have school, and then I have 2 days off in between, and then I have to talk to different teams about different stories, and I have to do public relations for other things. Then I got to work with Honky Honkins on his different movie roles and his different.
Hey, can you tell Jason Giambi I said he's a hypocrite?
Sure, why not? And the different projects that are going on for the most part. So I'm working on different movie projects. I'm trying to put a book together with James. That's kind of under the wall. We're not going to really talk about that right now. But I'm just doing so many other things, and I'm trying to do some of his work to help him with his part of the book, too. So on top of that, I just do not have time right now.
But those of you out there without any lives, please join the forums. No, believe me, we will be part of the forums. We will speak with you. We'll be happy to talk about anything you guys want to talk about.
If you want to create an Ask Christianic question, if you want to create an Ask Christianic thread, then I'll answer those questions or whatever.
Do you think anybody would ask?
Or if anyone has any questions related to...
Hey, Chris, how come you're such a piece of crap?
I think that was Triple H.
I didn't ask it. Somebody else did.
That was Triple H.
I know.
Triple H asked it.
Who I interviewed back in December.
Yes, Triple H. Yeah. By the way, you can check out. What is the website? Is it New Era of Wrestling?
Yes.
NewEraOfWrestling.com.
www.neweraofwrestling if you want to check out.
You can put a link on the front page for sports.
Okay, yeah, we will. We'll do the sports interview and
But does if anybody actually listens to this, though, I will send them a copy of Tina Brown. As long as you email me, Eric, or James.
You said you had some dirt about Rocky Johnson and The Rock not getting along. I'd like to hear that story.
Well, we're going to finish. This is going to be the interview then, and we're going to probably end on this note?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, back in the, I want to say 1998, Rocky Johnson was working for Florida Championship Wrestling. And him and his father have not been close in years. His real father has lived in warehouses, and with his mother, actually, which would be The Rock's grandmother then, for the most part. And he's always been, like, back and forth. He was one of the ones that wouldn't sign a contract to work for at Wrestle Reunion. I mean, this guy really is just a total mess. And they really just don't talk anymore. The fact of the matter is when Rock grew up, I don't think that Rocky Johnson ever expected. Or the fact is that Rocky Johnson really never cared about his son until he made it big for the most part. And all I can say about that is that it's not shocking, it's not surprising, and it's kind of just the way the wrestling business is. Bruno Sammartino and David Sammartino are the same way. Bruno being the father and David being the son. They barely ever speak and talk anymore. And they're the same way. And I spent a lot of time around Rocky Johnson when I was 14 or 15 years old in the Florida Championship Wrestling independent shows. And he was a manager. And he worked the summer tour. But I'm saying he was just doing it for the money, obviously. But, you know, there was also some accusations in 2000 that he sexually molested a kid. Which, you know, he's kind of a weird creep, so I don't know if I'm saying it's true or not. But him and The Rock are not close. They haven't been in years. And the only time I think the notion is that Rocky Johnson didn't care about his son until he really made it big, because I don't think he expected him to make it big, honestly. And I think that's really what the whole story is, as far as that whole matter goes. And you know, he was very quiet, and he seemed like a nice guy, but he just didn't seem he wanted to be at this independent wrestling program or show, which always brought in a few good stars, and had Barry Horowitz and Lonnie Lane there every so often, and Duke the Dumpster Droste was the world champion. So there you go.
Did you go to Wrestling Reunion or Wrestle Reunion?
I did not go to Wrestle Reunion. I know a friend who went to Wrestle Reunion who told me a billion stories about Wrestle
Did he like it?
I think it was a woman, and
is she hot?
She's in her 40s, and she's married.
Answer the question.
This reminds me of the Three's Company episode where they're trying to figure out what the magazine was, and it ended up being the magazine of a patient of Terry, who was a nurse, and it was an 83-year-old woman's sex life in a magazine, and Larry asked, what does she look like?
Sure. But, so anyhow, she's been a long time. She used to spend times at the Orlando Auditorium and in the Championship Wrestling from Florida Day. She's a long-time fan, and she's spent her life with all these guys. So she's a historian, and she was a journalist at one point. Not in wrestling, but she's been around the industry, and she works with the Funky Conservatory with Missy, actually, and is a close friend of Missy's. So
who we might have on next recap.
Well,
yeah, we might have Missy on with Rob Van Dam.
Well, what else is new? But for the most part, I think that
Three's Company too.
So yeah, that's your stories. But you know, when you look back at the whole wrestling business right now as a closing cause, you know, if you like the business, that's fine and dandy. But what you've got to realize is that the business is in a downward cycle right now. People say, oh, it can get better and better, but it's only going to get better. My opinion is as Ted Turner starts up something in 2006 when he gets control of Time Warner again. Vince McMahon just cannot relate to a 15-year-old kid anymore. He's 58.
Which, of course, is who we're marketing to, 15-year-old kid.
Who's 58 years old. And
well, to be honest with you, there are a lot of 15-year-old kids that watch wrestling.
And their marketed demographic right now, though, most popular is 19 to 34, actually. And for the most part, it's got to be about the kids. I mean, why do you make the wrestling figures on top of that?
Right.
And I really...
This is what I always said. When they were doing the adult stuff, they said, oh, we're not marketing to kids. Oh, really? Why do you have youth-size T-shirts for midgets?
Or why do you have action figure commercials in the middle of your show then?
Right.
And why do you sell ponies at events?
Well, maybe not.
Maybe not. But
Come and knock on our door.
But maybe for the most part, it's just one of those things
We've
where
been waiting for you.
you can look at when they came out on Saturday Night Main Event, Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon came out on horses at one time.
Yeah, and of course they made the joke that Jesse stepped in horse doo-doo.
Yeah.
Just to change the subject really quick, James, you remember the one episode of Family Guy when Meg's feeling bad, and Peter says, "Well, Meg, I have a little present for you."
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
He opens the closet door, and there's a skeleton of a horse, and he's like, "Oh yeah, ponies need food."
Yeah, they absolutely do. And so do cats and so do dogs. But the fact of the matter is that
Unless you're Chinese or Japanese, in which case you eat them.
Absolutely, 100%, instead of cats and dogs.
Not to mention people. Am I hearing a cat purring?
yeah, absolutely, for sure. There you go. But
Was that your cat?
yeah, well, that's one of my 5. I've got 5 cats and 2 dogs on top of that. But for the most part,
Do the cats like the dogs?
well, there's a 65-pound Rottweiler that just likes to harass them but doesn't really fight them.
Aw, do they? You know, it'd be cool if you had one of the cats ride on it.
Well, one of the times, it's a she-dog, by the way, and one of the times they all get she-dog. But one of the times, they actually did all gang up on her, and they did get her. Like, all 5 of them ganged up on her. It was really funny.
Did they make Chinese food out of her?
No. But
No egg foo young?
must we always have like some sort of racial Asian or ethnic thing in this show? I mean, it's really
Ronry. I'm sure
I have a cat.
Ronry.
And she's a cute cat. She's timid, afraid.
Well, that's nice that you're a cat lover. I appreciate that. But for the most
That's illegal.
But for the most part, before I come on, probably the next 3 months or whenever I come back on this Epicenter program, whatever you want to, Epicenter, wherever you want to call it. For the most part, we look at PWInsider.com. They're doing a good job today, but it's just that you have the hardcore fans who are going to buy the stuff. I interviewed Triple H and Heyman and World Wrestling Entertainment. The fact is that they don't know who to market to anymore, and you're going to see Triple H and Stephanie turn over the company one day, and Shane's the one that really should run it, but he's really just worried about his finances, I think, and really doesn't want to get involved with the politics of the business, and I guess you can't really blame him. So, as Mick Foley said at Wrestle Reunion, I guess, with the question-answer session, what happens when Vince McMahon retires? 3 more title reigns for Triple H, most likely. And that's the honest truth.
I don't think McMahon's going to retire for a while.
So,
I don't think McMahon will stop unless he's physically unable to continue.
Or he's dead.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, and that's fine. The guy deserves a little bit more respect than he gets on the internet. I'm the first to mock Vince. Everybody knows it. And the bottom line, though, is...
This isn't about Vince, but what I'm trying to say to you is that how do we know that Triple H isn't going to be wrestling to the ages of Ric Flair? You know what I mean? That's not,
God, I hope not.
That's what
I hope not, too.
That's what I'm trying to say to you for the most part. We don't know that.
The 79-time world...
It'll be like, some guy will be world champion, and then Triple H will be his lackey, and then he'll be like, he's the greatest champ. He's the greatest of all.
And everybody on the internet will still say that lackey is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and
even after he's made an ass of himself for the past 3 years on TV, being
like, hey, I don't understand how Triple H can carry this guy's bags. I mean, this is the guy that was the 17-time world champion. I mean, come on.
He's also 130.
How can you say that about Vincent Richard Helmsley?
I think if you clothesline Ric Flair too hard, he might turn to dust.
Ric Flair looks so terrible.
Some people need money. That's all I can say.
I think if you see on the Braveheart commercial, man, Flair looks so bad. I mean, he really looks like he might be a peasant.
I made a comment in 1998 when he came back. My grandfather was 90 years old in 1998, and I'm telling you the truth. They both wore suits all the time. Flair came back on Nitro, and he cut that promo on Bischoff, where he had to swear, because apparently he thinks that gets a fan reaction. And I remember I made the comment in an article I wrote saying, what was my grandfather doing on Nitro? And Flair looks twice as old now than he did then. He looks absolutely horrible.
His face is bad.
As the time goes on, But do you actually think that Ric Flair's actually sitting in the gym at his age?
Obviously not.
He's not Luthez, for crying out loud. That's what you have to remember. He's not Luthez who worked out.
Bruno still is in good shape.
He's not Bruno either. That's a different generation, totally different generation of
I bet
physicality.
Bruno could come back and work a better match right now than Flair could.
Bruno was like freaking Hulk Hogan in the 60s. No offense when I say that, but he was.
No offense taken. Bruno was a superstar. Bruno was the first guy to really break through. People seem to forget about that, though.
I mean, I remember. Let me just tell a quick Bruno story. After I did the interview with Bruno, I was at my aunt's house, and she's
That's
like,
a really good interview, though, by the way.
and it was. You should check it out. It's available in the archives. And she said, "Well, what are you doing these days?" And I said, "I'm doing this website." So I showed her, and she looks and she said, "Bruno Sammartino. I remember we used to all gather around the TV in 1968, and everybody, your uncle and everybody used to come and watch Bruno Sammartino wrestle." I mean, that goes far back. That's as far
I
back.
understand what you're saying, but I just don't think that I don't put him in the place that I will put Lou Thesz, or I will put Classy Freddie Blassie. I will put Flash ahead of Blassie because Thesz was the greatest wrestler ever.
Oh,
Without a shadow of a doubt, he was the greatest.
the bottom line
wrestler
is this: say what you will, Bruno outdrew Thesz 10-1. No disrespect to Thesz, but Bruno outdrew him.
Thesz went everywhere, to every other country. You cannot definitely.
The number, no,
he was a
check the numbers. Bruno sold much more than Thesz ever did. Bruno was in New York.
And what people need to realize is New York was the #1 territory because that was the center of every magazine that came out. That's why New York was #1, because if you worked in New York, you were guaranteed to be in all the magazines that went across the world.
And bottom line is this: Bruno could sell out the Garden 5 days a week. I don't know anybody who could really do that.
Well, basically,
I mean,
back
that's
then there
drawing
was
power.
But see, the thing about what you have to understand about those times is that there was nothing else to do back then.
Huh?
There was no.
Oh, come on!
There was
yes,
no.
there was.
There was no television. You had to go out to do things. That's why.
Yes, there was. There was television in the 60s.
Television in the 60s. Okay. There were 3 channels of television in the 60s.
That's a fair
There
point.
was a network. There was about 6 or 7.
Well, the fact of the matter is that there was less to do then, and we all know that. It's true. And people went out and did things then. It's not like, okay, let me say it to you. Okay. Back in the 60s, people aren't inspired by television the way they are today.
Conspired? You mean inspired?
Inspired by television the way they are today. If you look at the past, in the 30s and the 40s and the 20s or whatever like that, people did things and they went out and did things for entertainment. TV came around, TV, it's just another thing. They still went out and did things at those times. That's why wrestling did so well then, because people still went out and did things. It's not like that today. You can sit home and watch.
Well, wrestling did well in the 20s, but it didn't do well in the 30s.
Well, whatever, but you can say what you want.
Well, it didn't do well in the 30s because nobody had the money.
Yeah.
Ed the Strangler Lewis, that's all I will say. But for the most part, when you look at the whole situation, the matter is that, I don't care what you're saying about outdrawing or not, because I'm not looking at statistics of who drew the most money or who this. I'm saying as far as an in-ring work, as far as a person in a profession, and how he handled himself, Thesz was the best of all time.
But you gotta remember, and people need to stop kidding themselves about this. Yes, it is very important to be a good in-ring wrestler. I will not lie, and I will not say it's unimportant. But you gotta look at it like this. You need to have an invested interest. Bruno got people invested in the matches. He got them emotionally connected to the matches, and he brought people to the arenas. Wrestling is a business, and Bruno was a good businessman because he could bring people to see the card. I mean, if you're wrestling the greatest match, but you can't bring people to watch
Let me put it this way. If you're the WWF champion and you're at WrestleMania 3 defending your title in front of 93,000 people, and then you have Ric Flair, the NWA champion, defending at a carnival, getting dressed in an outhouse and walking through manure to get to the ring, who's really the greatest worker? And that's all I have to say.
I mean, the thing is, I'm not going to go out there and say, any Joe Schmo can be the world champion, or a guy who can't work and is just some steroid freak can be the world champion, because that's not true. You need to be a good worker, and I have respect for good workers, but people underestimate drawing power. They underestimate charisma. They underestimate the X factor.
But I don't care about any of those things. But I'm saying as a legitimate wrestler, that's all I was saying. As a legitimate...
Yannick, it's still fake, though. It is fake.
If
you want to say the best wrestler...
Please don't argue with our friend.
As a legitimate wrestler, Thesz could have broke your leg in the ring, and they were supposed to have a match that never happened. Sammartino and Thesz, but they could never either of them could never agree to a wage.
I mean, he could break my leg, but so could Frank Shamrock. Does that make Frank Shamrock the best professional wrestler of all time? No. I mean,
I'm talking about a time though.
Still fake, Andy.
I'm talking about in a time where you had to protect yourself because everybody was out to get everybody. And you're not.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
And you're telling me that those times in the 40s and the 50s.
Oh, they matter. They absolutely matter. You know, that's the problem I have when anybody says, "Oh, the greatest."
You're telling me that anybody would go out to knock anybody out. Read Hogan's book about how Blassie tells him to knock out that Japanese guy like in 2 minutes or whoever it was, and he wasn't supposed to. I mean, how is that not the same way?
Well, I'll agree with you with Blassie being a draw. Blassie was a draw, and he was on quite a few. He broke into the mainstream. But hey, I'll agree with you. Thez was Thez protected the business very well. But you got
unfortunately, yeah, and this is what I want to say. I just want to jump in. Let me chime in here. The thing about you guys are arguing about is really just a matter of opinion, because there's no way of knowing what would have happened had Thez been in his prime in the Hogan era, and there's no way of knowing what would have happened had Flair been in the WWE. Though actually, that's incorrect because he actually did, and he failed miserably, and he was fired after a year contract. But nobody wants to admit that.
Failed horrible in the AWA.
What'd you say?
San Martino failed horribly in the AWA.
No. Flair failed horribly in the WWF.
You know, I have to look at this from a career standpoint. I'm not 30 years old. I'm not Dave Scherer, who's got a wife and has a family and has his life set the way it is.
Don't be negative, please. Right. Well, guys.
No, you gotta let me finish. If you don't let me finish, we cut our business relationship. You gotta let me finish. You don't just break off somebody in the middle of a promo. You're not Chris Jericho interrupting The Rock here, okay?
I had a dream Venus flytraps tried to eat me.
Cool, but the fact of the matter is what you have to realize is that from my career standpoint, I'm still 19 years old, I'm still a college student, and I'm looking at my media future. So, you know, wrestling was a stepstone, and that's it. And for the most part, as James would say, that's it. So thank you. Good night, America.
Thank you, Mr. Yandick.
I also want to say a disclaimer. We are very thankful for the participation of Dave Scherer and those folks at PW Insider for their fantastic promotion of our site.
Well, they know who I am. Hi, Dave.
The news and views said by Chris Yandick are not reflective of the interactive interview.
Yeah, I say that like everybody says that when I'm on every other radio program that they're on. Obviously so.
Okay, well, once again, thank you everybody for listening through that entire spiel. But let's go.
If you actually listen to the end, you'll know this. This is a special code. If you can actually type the number 2 in your email, and we'll know you listened to the end when you said that email for the Tina Brown book for free.
And then tell me what I had a dream about.
And then sing the song, and then no. And if you send me the entire lyrics to the Three's Company TV theme song, I will give you a free kick between the legs.
How about a free wrestling tape from your library?
That's fine. Okay, take your pick. Anyway, off we go. I said that these guys might perform live. They might perform this song live. It's not their song. But this is Duggan doing it alone again. This is one of my favorite songs. And since it's going to be an acoustic show when 68 Guns joins us, hopefully they will perform this for me.
If you enjoyed what you just heard, please click the like button and the notifications bell. And consider subscribing. It really helps. Thank you.